We're getting stoned today on At Your Leisure, but not in the way you might think. I'm Stephen Heumann.
And I'm Rhea Rossi Booth. Join Chad and me as we hit the rocks at one spectacular event with more obstacles than an enduro track.
Then come fly the friendly skies with me as we soar at one of the most unique competitions in the world. I'll show how you can get into the sport.
Finally, Reece Stein discovers that there's more to Palm Springs, California than just golf. Own the outdoors right now with At Your Leisure.
For some reason, that reminds me of a bear in a tree, kind of scratching his itch.
Oh my gosh! Welcome to the world of carnage. This gentleman here, Steve Nance, he is showing us how it's done.
Yes, we are at the old school rock crawl for At Your Leisure today. This is an annual event that takes place down in Delta, Utah, and you've got competitors from all over the Mountain West and a few from even beyond that come here just to drive over these man-made obstacles.
Right, these obstacles are actually natural rock formations all around the West, and Craig Stump, who's in charge of this, goes out and makes these things.
That's true. So we're going to find out a little bit more about the event and what prompted it to get started.
The reason we put this on is because it's in our family. We love it. It's in our blood. I love to come out here and build these courses and let the guys come out and drive on them. I love to watch the look on their faces when they're upside down because I've been there with them. I'm an old competitor in the old days from U-Rock and all that. We just love it. That's why we do it. They'll go out and they'll practice with their spotters and they'll work with team, they get their teamwork down and they have radios and they'll talk to each other and they have hand signals. So it's more than what meets the eye. We built these out of old pieces of concrete, tires, and when we got all done mounding, we just mounded it all up and we poured dirt on top of all that and then carved it out to the unique shape that you see today and then sprayed it with concrete, just like a swimming pool.
Well, for being man-made obstacles, they sure hike like you're climbing to the top of a mountain, Rhea.
Yeah, this is the smallest obstacle they got here, that one right there.
Yeah, and that's the one you're not supposed to drive over.
Yeah, I better not move it. Bad idea.
All right, well, we got a little bit of a wind coming up, which is going to add more to the obstacles here. And of course, right now it's the time in our show where we take away from the course and go to our travel adventure. Check out this story this week.
A silent look at the world below is something few people have a chance to experience. Flying in the modern age is made up of a litany of sounds, rumbles and screeches, the whining of engines. It's rare a pilot gets to soar the blue in perfect peace, like a hawk on a thermal, not resisting gravity nor being bound by it. This is the realm of gliders, and every June they gather in the small Utah town of Parowan by the dozens to compete over one of the most perfect flying areas in the country. Parowan sits directly on I-15, about 20 minutes north of Cedar City. Founded in 1851 as an agricultural resource for the iron industry that the county is named for, today Parowan is the gateway to some of the most spectacular lands anywhere. Its climate is unique, receiving plenty of rainfall, and it's that climate that brings pilots here each year to catch a breeze and glide silently over the rest of the world. The Parowan Glide Festival is about more than just the tranquility of the experience, though. For these pilots, it's also about the win.
The camp consists of competition scoring of each day's flights. Unlike some contests, we don't have a prescribed task. Each pilot determines his own route and goes out and flies as far and as fast as he can, and the leading accumulation of points each day is the daily winner. Parowan is a great place for several reasons. First, the soaring is really good here. As you can see by the sky, we've got a beautiful blue sky filled with puffy cumulus clouds which indicate the presence of strong thermals. Second, there's lots to do here for our non-flying members, our spouses, our crew chiefs, crew members. They can go off to Zion or Bryce Canyon, visit Bryan Head, hike and bike at Yankee Meadows or even the local ridges. So there's lots of things for them to do.
The whole area is beautiful to visit, very challenging, and the flying is absolutely exceptional. So it's a good reason to come.
Those ancillary activities are a huge draw for the pilots, too. With the mountain biking trails of Bryan Head less than a half-hour away, or the ATVing into overlooks of Cedar Breaks, activities abound right on Parowan's friendly doorstep. But for the pilots, the sky is the limit, literally. Gliding is a different experience altogether from other forms of flying. You can actually legally pilot your own glider at the age of 14 and travel over 400 miles or more using only warm-up drafts and your skill.
There's the challenge of being able to fly these machines, which are in themselves quite extraordinary.
Well, it's a confined space, but it's very comfortable. The cockpits are set up ergonomically designed for maximum comfort and visibility. We all carry a little pouch with food, carry some water. There's a relief tube supplied because you're going to have to go to the bathroom. And at the end of the day, you're tired, but very satisfied by having achieved a long flight. Decision making is constant throughout the flight, and the skill that is required is somewhat analogous to the different skill set between driving a powerboat, say, and sailing.
This is a really amazing experience. Right now we haven't hit any thermals, so we're going under power. Some of these gliders actually have engines that can come out and they can actually get you up to the heights that you're supposed to be at, and then they stop and you glide the rest of the way. This is an amazing experience. We're getting all these views of the mountains that I've never seen before, some views of Cedar Breaks. It is killer.
The view from up here really changes your perspective. And once the engine goes off and silence takes over, you feel like you're really flying for the first time, as close to a bird as you can get. The Parowan Glide Festival starts in just a couple weeks and goes from June 18th to the 21st. You can find out more at cedarcityayl.com. The event is free, and you can come to the Parowan Airport and get a view of the gliders taking off and landing, meet the pilots, and even start your own path toward riding the air currents like a feather on the wind.
Learning to fly in the glider, there are glider clubs throughout the country, and if you will visit the website www.ssa.org, which stands for the Soaring Society of America, there is a spot you can click on that says Where to Fly. And throughout the entire country are distributed clubs and commercial operators where you can take an introductory lesson or join and learn how to fly in a glider.
And once you've tried it, maybe one day you'll find yourself here, challenging the best glider pilots in the world. For At Your Leisure, I'm Stephen Heumann.
It's known as Little Lake Powell, and for good reason. The crimson rocks of Red Fleet Reservoir are some of the most stunning in the West, and it's this week's featured Utah State Park. Located 5 miles north of downtown Vernal on Highway 191, Red Fleet offers all the thrills of boating, with some of the best historic adventures as well. Hike a 200-million-year-old dinosaur track, where these ageless footprints remind visitors they aren't the first to walk on these shores. Campsites are plentiful, along with spots for RVs. Restrooms include showers, and there's a group pavilion perfect for reunions and family get-togethers. June 19th and 20th, you can join us for Paddle Fest, our signature music and water event. Utah State Parks, adventures for everyone.
Polaris is riding into summer with unprecedented savings across the world's best off-road lineup. Save $800 or more on 12 models, including $1,400 off the best-selling Ranger XP 900, $1,000 off a revolutionary Polaris Ace, $900 off a legendary Sportsman 570, $800 off the high-performance RZR XP 1000, and get financing as low as 1.99% on everything.
Reece City RV wants your family to experience the outdoors together, and it's never been easier than right now with our spring clearance sale. All of our 2014 models are at the best prices ever, so we can make room for the 2015s. Get into this 2014 Rockwood tent trailer 1970 model with event pricing of only $84.99. This is perfect for the introductory unit for a young family. The lowest prices you'll ever see. Reece City RV's spring clearance sale on Rockwood tent trailers and more. Reece City RV, serving Utah since 1946.
Hi, I'm Darren Kinder, and we've got a fun product review to do today. We have the new Polaris RZR 900 4-seat, and this is a new machine for this year, and they've done a lot of cool features to it to really make it a lot better machine. Now, one of the things that I really like about this machine is they got rid of the nets, and they've gone to a 4 doors, solid slam type doors that are very easy to use and operate. And they also have, you can get like metal skins for these that cover this entire area, or you can also get like a little plastic filler in here if you need that as well. Now, the machine comes standard with some 27-inch Dirt Commander tires on it. You've got the Fox Podium 2-inch shocks on it, fully adjustable, with a double A-arm front suspension on it. So you can really dial this machine in. We're out here at the Knolls today, and you know, it's fun to come out here where you can really open the machine up and go fast. But I also like to go down to southern Utah and do some rock crawling. So this machine really lends itself to both of those kind of conditions. Plus, I can carry my whole family and we can go out and have a great time. Now, there's a lot of different roofs you can get for this, whether they're plastic or aluminum. You know, it's all kind of your personal preference. But one of the things they've done this year is they've actually lowered this rear roll bar height, which is going to make it a lot easier to get it in a lot of the toy haulers than it used to be. They've also extended out the roll bar all the way around the back, so that gives you a little bit of protection when you're backing up or having to roll it over. And also, it kind of keeps your gear protected and keeps it from falling out accidentally. Now, if you look back here, you'll see they put the Fox Podium shocks on it with the A-arm suspension, and it also has a torsion bar on it. Now, if you want, if you're doing some rock crawling, you can disconnect that torsion bar, which gives you a little bit more travel. Now, the machine does have 13 inches of travel in the rear shocks. It also has 13 inches of ground clearance. Back here, you have a lot of storage, you know, to be able to put coolers and toolboxes and extra gas or whatever. There's plenty of room for that. The seats are very comfortable, but there are several different upgrades that you can get on these that you can make them super plush, but I've never really had a problem much with these seats. You can also add 5-point seatbelt harnesses if you want to do something like that. Now, this is one of the features I've always loved about the RZR, and it's called their OSB bar. And this is really nice, especially if you have kids, because it is adjustable. So if you have somebody that's shorter in the seat, it'll actually slide out here so that it's easier for the kids to hang on to. Plus, you have floor cleanouts, the seats are adjustable front and back, so it's you can get the machine very comfortable for what you're looking for. Well, I really enjoyed this new Polaris 900 4-seat. The power for me was just right. Wasn't going to be a race vehicle or anything like that, but a great machine to get out with your family, go do some rock crawling, go do some desert running, some sand, whatever. It's really set up to do just about anything. If you'd like to check one out, go up to Weller's in Camas, and they'll show you the full Polaris line. Plus, they have a brand new showroom with lots of cool toys. I'm Darren Kinder. We'll see you next time.
Introducing the newest member of the Yamaha off-road family. It thrives in the most remote, rugged terrain. It never steps down from a challenge and travels long distances in search of adventure. The all-new Yamaha Wolverine. It's a whole new animal.
Polaris is riding into summer with unprecedented savings across the world's best off-road lineup. Save $800 or more on 12 models, including $1,400 off the best-selling Ranger XP 900, $1,000 off a revolutionary Polaris Ace, $900 off a legendary Sportsman 570, $800 off the high-performance RZR XP 1000, and get financing as low as 1.99% on everything.
People might tell you it's 300 miles out here, but remember, it's really only 30 miles back.
You go through the day-to-day repeating what you did yesterday. Don't you wish you could access that piece of your life that's missing?
You just might find it in the air. June 18th through the 28th in Parowan is the biggest glider competition in the country. Watch as these pilots take off into the blue and soar for hundreds of miles on nothing more than thermals and their skill. Learn from the pros and find out how you can become a pilot yourself. The Parowan Glide Festival, June 18th through the 28th. Find out more at cedarcityayl.com.
Well, you would be hard-pressed to come to an event like this and not see some very familiar names like Maxxis and or Terraflex. Anybody that does any off-roading knows these brands. Welcome back to At Your Leisure at the Old School Rock Crawl in Delta, Utah. We talked to some of the drivers today and found out their stories, how they got from the curb to the peak.
Well, my first Jeep was a 1990 Jeep Cherokee that I bought when I was in college. And I remember thinking how invincible I was that for the first time I had four-wheel drive and I could go wherever I wanted. Because obviously with my disability, I'm limited on where I can go and what I can do, what I can see. But all of a sudden, having a four-wheel drive, I had doors open to me that had never been opened before.
At least 50% of the enjoyment is building it. That's the only way a normal guy can afford it, is if he does the work himself. My grandsons, him and I bond together because this is what we do together. And they're better drivers than I am. And they all started with me.
I actually started at this event. I had an old Toyota pickup, and so I took it down, and I think I broke about every part on my Toyota that day, but we were hooked. I took it home, made it stronger, kept going, and now here we are back at Delta years and years later, and now I've got this thing to show for it.
I grew up in Jeeps in Moab on my dad's birthday. We always rented them, and I drove a dirt bike. And I decided when I got old enough to have a roll cage, I wanted a cage.
There is no better modification than you can do to your Jeep than seat time. The more time you spend in that driver's seat, the better you'll be. And then as you make it more and more capable, you'll be able to go more and more places. So the best thing I can do is get it, use it, have fun with it.
Climb, Dave, climb. Look at that. Is that amazing?
Yeah, I remember you did that once with your car when you missed the garage door.
You're about that same angle.
Look at that. This guy's from Moab. He's amazing.
Well, I guess it's inherited down there.
Yes, it's in the water. It's in the mother's milk.
Yes, that's right.
It is.
Well, we are going to leave from ringside down here at the Old School Rock Crawl right now and take you to this week's Trailhead Adventure. I think you're going to like this story.
I'm Reece at your leisure in Palm Springs, California, an area known for golf, tennis, and high-end living. But this area also has its wild side, from palms to ponds. The Thursday night street market draws huge crowds to downtown Palm Springs. With free marshmallows, why not? But if you want to get away from the throngs and back to nature, there are tons of options.
I think it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Much of the Coachella Valley, including Palm Springs, is seemingly barren, sun-bleached, yet in its way beautiful desert. But look what a little water can do.
Right here, we're in the middle of a palm forest that's here because we have water coming up from the ground right smack dab on top of the San Andreas Fault. And you get in the middle of this, like we are right now, and you couldn't believe that 100 yards on each side there is that blown, blasted desert that you don't think a lizard could live in.
But that blasted desert has its own charms. The Randall Henderson Trail is a perfect introductory hike through the low desert. Beginning at the National Monument Visitor Center on State Highway 74, the 2.5-mile loop trail climbs an easy 400 feet through the ubiquitous creosote bush, teddy bear and jumping cholla cactus, and spiny ocotillo, all typical of the Colorado desert.
Depending on the ratio of mica, feldspar, and quartz, granite can appear light, dark, or some shade in between. Look for lichens.
The trail guide tells the eons-old story of this desert canyon, the rocks, the flora, and the critters that live here. From here, Highway 74 winds up 7 Mile Hill, past Smiler Grogan Point for you Mad World fans. As the 67-mile scenic byway climbs, the vegetation changes until you're in a mature alpine forest before dropping down the other side back to the desert. Spectacular Palm Canyon runs for 15 miles up the valley. The main trail is sheltered by hundreds of towering California fan palms with their unusual skirted fronds dipping towards the ground. Ancestral Cahuillas lived here. The 2-mile Victor Trail, one of a dozen in this canyon, climbs away from the palms and back into the extreme desert. On the high trails, keep an eye out for desert bighorn sheep. But the best Palms to Pines experience is the Palm Springs Tram. In 12 minutes, you climb through 5 life zones, from the Sonoran Desert of Mexico to the Alpine Forest of Alaska. The temperature drops 30 degrees. At the top, a forest of 100-foot-tall Jeffrey pine trees shade the loop trail that pauses at overlooks of the city and desert 6,000 feet below. Here we ran into some At Your Leisure fans from Utah escaping the desert heat.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to be warm down there tonight. But coming up here is like, we live up in Big Cottonwood Canyon, and it's so cool up there like it is here. So, you know, you go to a warm spot, then you go to the nice cold spot. It's just like, oh, it's just wonderful. It's getting a snow cone.
Pick a cooler time of day to explore the Salton Sea, about an hour's drive south of Palm Springs. 234 feet below sea level and not quite as salty as the Great Salt Lake, fishermen angle for tilapia, the only species not killed off by the salinity. Over 400 species of birds, including egrets, herons, and pelicans, also fish here. And don't miss nearby Painted Canyons, north of the lake via Mecca, California. This high-walled, narrow gorge, courtesy the San Andreas Faults, leads to an even narrower side canyon, which has a unique feature.
The ladders.
That's right, ladders, placed by volunteers to make the steeper sections doable.
That's what everybody likes and they hate. You know, they're scary, but everybody makes it up the ladder, and they make it down, and it's just, and the narrowness, it's very narrow.
This narrow slot canyon, along with the other natural features of the Palm Springs area, more than balance the area's rep of a golf, tennis, and rich man's getaway. This is not the Palm Springs you see in all the travel brochures, I'll tell you. Reece Stein, At Your Leisure, near Palm Springs, California.
The Wildcat. More fun than the usual midlife crisis. The 2015 Wildcat, Wildcat Trail, and introducing the Wildcat Sport. Nothing's as wild.
A mountainside trail. A day of speed that pushes your limits. A desert oasis that opens your horizons. A land of horsepower for every taste. Tooele County is all of them in one. It's time to experience a new adventure you never knew you were missing. It's time to find out what's just over the mountain. Tooele County, Utah. The Wasatch Front is your home. Tooele is your backyard.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. Right now we are finishing up our tour of the old school rock hall. Now, a few years ago, people would bring their garden tractors around to run parts back and forth for the rock crawlers. Then one guy said, well, mine's better than yours. They started a competition. Now they've got a big competition going on every year. It's one of the main features. So we've got a special grudge match today between reigning tractor champion Shelby Brewer in the green and Rhea Rossi Booth, the challenger, on her way down. And it looks like Shelby's way ahead. Her tractor's way beating the Montgomery Ward. Yes, it looks like we've got
It looks like we've definitely got the John Deere winning by a mile. Still the reigning champ.
Love it.
All right, well, good. What did you do to make your tractor work so well?
Got to talk to the boyfriend.
Okay.
Motor swap. That's all I know.
All right. Well, we need to come over here.
Oh my gosh! I don't know how to turn this thing off! It's like, it just keeps running! There, you got me, Shelby! That was so much fun! Well, you know what? I feel bad that I lost. I think we need to go to Reece so I can drown my sorrows in like a really big chicken sandwich.
Okay, well, that's what we'll do. Well, right now, we got a little bit of business to take care of. We've got a contest winner, calendar event, so let's check out the stuff at the end of the show.
Well, we have a couple events to talk about today, and our first one was already mentioned earlier in the show, the Parowan Glide Competition going on June 18th through the 28th. Contact the Parowan City Chamber of Commerce for more details. At the same time in Cedar City, you can enjoy the largest Olympic-style sports festival in the West at the Utah Summer Games. There are sporting matches of every type going on from the 5th all the way to the end of the month. Finally, also in Cedar City, June 22nd through the 29th is the musical festival Groovefest. This is a fun carnival for the whole family with live music from artists from all around the country. Find out more at cedarcityayl.com. Now let's take a look at what we can expect on the next episode of AYL.
Thanks, Rhea. Next week, Darren and Jill Kinder are riding off into the sunset on some of the most spectacular mountain biking trails in the West. Where are they? You'll have to see it to believe it. Then Chad Booth takes a jaunt to the East Coast where he finds some surprises you'll want to discover with your family. Own the outdoors with AYL every week.
Looks like it's going to be a great show next week. So, in your moment, your agony of defeat, do you feel better now that we're at Reed's?
Indeed, I have my patty melt and my fries. Listen, if you're ever recreating in central Utah, you've got to hit this place, Reed's Drive-In. It is so good.
It's right.
Every time you come, it's good.
It's right on Main Street in Nephi, and Val Beer owns the place, and he does a great job. And he has, I mean, just a killer menu. So rest assured, whether it be here in Nephi at Reed's Drive-In or anywhere in the West, if we find a cool place to eat or something fun to do, we will tell you about it. Well, that's a hot jalapeno, which is why you should be watching At Your Leisure every single week.
That's right. And remember, too, that there's adventure around every corner, but you can't experience it if you're sitting on your couch.
That's right. We'll see you next week.
Chain, rope, cable, winch line. Recovery is...
What did you get?
Oh, I got a little, shoe.
So you can...
You have a message. You have a brand. You have something worth experiencing. What you don't have is an audience. It's time to change that. It's time to partner with the #1 outdoor program in the country and show the world what you have to offer. Advertising on At Your Leisure is effective and affordable, giving you an audience that dwarfs anything else out there, backed by a proven force of adventure. Contact the AYL team at 801-947-8888. It's time your message was heard.
Hi, I'm Chad Booth from At Your Leisure. I hope you just enjoyed the YouTube video that you just watched. Now, remember, we come up with new videos like this every single week, so you might want to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a single story that we have out. Now, you can also share us with all of your friends on social media. Here's how to do it right here, and that way they can have fun too. If you want detailed information, we of course have our website, AYLTV.com, and from there you can find out which television stations we broadcast on, so you never have to spend a day without your fix of family-oriented outdoor recreation adventure. Plus, don't forget we have really cool contests.